Elon suggests he is going to fund a primary for anyone who votes in favor of this bill. Okay, and as soon as that happens, Trump and Vance, President Trump and Vice President Vance, who, again, were part of the negotiation. It's not as though they were absent from all of this talk. They signed into the chat, and they started to saw off the limb behind Speaker Johnson. So they put out a statement that said, quote, "The most foolish and inept thing ever done by congressional Republicans was allowing our country to hit the debt ceiling in 2025. It was a mistake and is now something that must be addressed. Meanwhile, Congress is considering a spending bill that would give sweetheart provisions for government censors and for Liz Cheney. The bill would make it easier to hide the records of the corrupt January 6th committee, which accomplished nothing for the American people and hid security failures that happened that day. This bill would also give Congress a pay increase while many Americans are struggling this Christmas. Increasing the debt ceiling is not great, but we'd rather do it on Biden's watch. If Democrats won't cooperate on the debt ceiling now, what makes anyone think they would do it in June during our administration? Let's have this debate now, and we should pass a streamlined spending bill that doesn't give Chuck Schumer and Democrats everything they want. Republicans want to support our farmers, pay for disaster relief, and set our country up for success in 2025. The only way to do that is with a temporary funding bill without Democrat giveaways combined with an increase in the debt ceiling. Anything else is a betrayal of our country. Republicans must get smart and tough. If Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want, call their bluff. It is Schumer and Biden who are holding up aid to our farmers and disaster relief. This chaos would not be happening if we had a real president. We will in 32 days. That is a statement that is pointed out jointly by President Trump and Vice President Vance. Okay, so the options that are basically left on the table are these. One, what they probably should have done in the first place, a clean continuing resolution without the farm bill, without the disaster aid. Just put that forward, get through the first few weeks of the new year. Trump's president, you have a Republican Congress, you have a Republican Senate, and now you can actually have an honest conversation about how Republicans should vote. Remember, right now, Chuck Schumer is still in charge of the Senate, and Joe Biden is still the president of the United States. But, again, it turns out that Trump, Vance, and Johnson don't actually want a clean continuing resolution. So, President Trump put out a statement yesterday, quote, "If Republicans try to pass a clean continuing resolution without all of the Democrat bells and whistles that will be so destructive to the country, all it will do after January 20th is bring the mess of the debt limit into the Trump administration rather than allowing it to take place in the Biden administration. Any Republican that would be so stupid as to do this should and will be primaried. Everything should be done and fully negotiated prior to my taking office on January 20th, 2025. So now, Trump and Vance are adding a new wrinkle. They don't just want to pass the clean CR, they also want to pass an increase in the debt ceiling. Okay, the debt ceiling is what allows the government, gives permission to the executive branch to go and take out more debt. We have this debate every year, every 6 months in the Congress, the increase in the debt ceiling, and usually that is used as a lever to get the government to spend less money by Republicans. President Trump put out a statement saying, quote, "Sounds like the ridiculous and extraordinarily expensive continuing resolution plus is dying fast. But can anyone imagine it passing without either terminating or extending the debt ceiling guillotine coming up in June? Unless the Democrats terminate or substantially extend debt ceiling now, I will fight till the end. This is a nasty trap set in place by the radical left Democrats. They're looking to embarrass us in June when it comes up for a vote. The people that extended it from September 28th to June 1st should be ashamed of themselves. It was political malpractice. Also, the Communist Global Engagement Center, a project of crooked Hillary Clinton, should not in any way, shape, or form be extended, and the shielding of the very corrupt J6 Unselect Committee of Political Losers and Thugs would be suicidal for any Republican approving it. Likewise, this is not a good time for Congress to be asking for pay increases. Hopefully, you'll be entitled to such an increase in the near future when we make America great again." Okay, so what exactly does all that mean? It means that now they are no longer asking just for a clean CR, which again would have been the best plan. Just get for a few more weeks of spending. That's it. Get Trump in office, get the Republicans in office, and then negotiate all this stuff out. President Trump would love for the debt ceiling to go away. So when he comes into office, Republicans can pass the new tax bill, for example, or pass a border bill without having to worry about the debt ceiling. So the question is this: how? And again, this is where the principle and the pragmatism meet. How? How do you get all those things? So the only way you're going to get all those things is by, wait for it, giving concessions to Democrats, because Republicans do not run the Senate. Because Republicans probably don't have enough votes in the House to get something like that across the finish line. There are a lot of Republicans who don't want to increase the debt ceiling and sort of sign a blank check. Why exactly would Democrats vote to increase the debt ceiling to help Republicans in the future? That doesn't make any sense. They're not going to do that. This idea that Democrats are desperate to increase the debt ceiling on behalf of Trump and the Republicans taking office, that is not how politics works. Yes, the Fed has cut rates recently. If you're waiting for them to drop back down to like 3%, you might be leaving money on the table right now. Every month you wait is another month of potentially higher payments. Here's the smart play. Consider refinancing with Churchill Mortgage while rates are down. If rates drop further, no problem. Your team at Churchill Mortgage will be there to help you refinance again. That's how you stay ahead of the game. Whether you're looking to make your monthly budget work better or just being strategic about using your home's equity, a refi could be your solution. Ask yourself, are you carrying high-interest credit card debt? A cash-out refinance could help you consolidate that debt at a lower rate. Have you been putting off home improvements? A cash-out refi could fund those needed updates. Plus, here's something timely. When you refinance, you skip a mortgage payment. Perfect timing for the holiday season. And if you're in the market to buy, here's an insider tip. December is statistically one of the best times to negotiate on your dream home. I recently sat down with Matt Clark. He's the president of Churchill Mortgage. What struck me most was his genuine passion for helping families build generational wealth through homeownership. This is a priority to him on a personal level. The experts at Churchill Mortgage are ready to have a real conversation about your options. No robots, just experienced professionals who understand your unique situation. Head over to churchillmortgage.com/Shapiro. Tell your loan officer I sent you. You will be in good hands. churchillmortgage.com/Shapiro. NMLS ID 1591, an equal housing lender. So, for example, Chris Murphy, the execrable senator from Connecticut, Democrat, he put out a statement, quote, remember what this is all about. Trump wants Democrats to agree to raise the debt ceiling so he can pass his massive corporate and billionaire tax cut without a problem. Shorter version, tax cut for billionaires or the government shuts down for Christmas. So Democrats are now opposing a clean continuing resolution. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries suggested Wednesday Democrats will oppose any federal spending bill that strays from the deal that was announced the day before because they understand that they sort of have Republicans boxed in. Politically speaking, what they believe is that if the government shuts down, Republicans will be blamed. Why? Because Republicans were perfectly willing to back the bipartisan deal until Elon Musk pointed out the flaws in the deal. And then Donald Trump and J.D. Vance didn't like the public blowback on the deal and decided to walk back the deal. And so Democrats are like, why would we help you out? What exactly would be the purpose? So if there is a government shutdown, who will be blamed is sort of the question. I think that on the right side of the aisle, there's a generalized perception that the left will be blamed. That if Republicans, for example, pass a continuing resolution and still somehow are able to pass an increase in the debt ceiling, and then Democrats refuse all those things, Democrats will be blamed for the continuing resolution's failure. Democrats will be blamed for the ensuing partial government shutdown. Again, government shutdown in the end of the world. We've done it before. It's not that big a deal. When I say it's not that big a deal, it is for the people who are furloughed, but typically they don't last all of that long. And also, all of these sort of essential services, meaning Social Security checks, for example, those continue to go out on time. So, what would the actual political result of this be? Well, it would be a battle that President Trump would have to inherit immediately on taking office. The next month, because it's still a month until he's president, the next month would be taken up with conversation in the media about why is the government shut down? Why didn't Donald Trump just let the Republicans pass the continuing resolution? Why are government workers not getting paid for Christmas? And all the rest. And maybe that makes no difference. Maybe it turns out that Trump comes into office, passes some funding, and everything is hunky-dory. Okay, great. But that is the risk. And so understanding that risk is, again, a question of pragmatism versus actual principle. What does that risk look like? But if President Trump is counting on Democrats to vote for an increase in the debt ceiling and Joe Biden to sign that in order to help him in his first year, I don't think that's going to happen. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.